Hello and welcome to episode 36 of Novel Knits. My name is Danelle and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about what I'm knitting and what I'm reading. If you're new, thanks so much for joining us. I hope you like what you see and you'll come back. And if you're returning, thanks so much for being here. You guys know how much I appreciate you and every comment that you leave, you guys are so nice. And I just wanted to say thank you for those of you who do leave comments and say nice things. Like, I didn't start this channel to get compliments, but you have all just created such a kind and welcoming and positive space on here. And I just wanted to thank you for that. So thank you so much. It is weird outside today. So the lighting is gonna be hopefully fine, but it's raining. We're having a rainstorm. There was thunder and lightning this morning, and I live in Wisconsin in the middle of the United States, and normally we have snow. So it's just been a weird winter. Not loving it at all. But yes, I live in southeastern Wisconsin with my husband and our two kids, Claire and Milo. I have a DOG who is sitting at my feet being very quiet, so we're just gonna let you know that she's there, and hopefully she's gonna stay quiet for me. And if you want to find me on Instagram or Ravelry, you can find me as Novel Knit Girl in both places. Everything I talk about today, I will list below this video with links to Ravelry. So if that doesn't work for you, just leave me, just either DM me on Instagram or leave a comment here, and I'm happy to answer any questions all the time. Today's gonna be a little crazy. I wanted to get on today because I'm gonna be going in for surgery tomorrow, and I will be off work for 2 weeks. So I think I'm gonna have a lot of time to knit and watch trashy TV. Trashy TV for me is like period dramas, like Downton Abbey, Poldark, Bridgerton. Some are steamier than others, but like I love a good, period drama. So I think that's gonna be the majority of my time the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I've been working on a lot of things, and I just didn't wanna let this sit if I can't record for 2 weeks. And then I'll have like a bazillion things to talk about. I already have a bazillion things to talk about. I have some finished objects. I have literally pulled out, I think, every bag in my house. So it's not true, but that's what it feels like to work on a few things. I'm not even gonna show everything I worked on in the last couple of weeks because it would just be too much. It was ridiculous. I literally was like a grazer. Like, instead of grazing at a food table though, it was like all my knitting bags around the house. And then I finished reading 9 books. So I definitely think I've been feeling a little stressed out, and this is how I've been dealing with it. So so this might be a TMI moment, so I apologize, but I am having a partial hysterectomy tomorrow. So obviously there have been issues that have been coming up in my life that have brought me to this stage, and while I'm excited to have the procedure done and move on with my life and hopefully have an improved quality of life from that, I am really nervous because I've never had a surgery before. I have never broken a bone before. I've never even had stitches before, other than like getting my wisdom teeth out. So I am a little nervous just about the whole process. But then I have to remind myself that, like, for me, it's gonna be easy, right? I'm gonna show up, they're gonna give me anesthesia, and I'm gonna wake up and it's gonna be over. So I think it'll be okay. And barring there's no complications, I should be in and out in like 6 hours. So this is not a serious surgery. And yeah, it shouldn't be a hospital stay. And hopefully I will just have lots of time to recover and knit. So I'm gonna be off from work for at least 2 weeks. I have to go and get cleared from my doctor after 2 weeks, and then hopefully moving on with the life, right? So, but yeah, so that's the only thing for Vital Few today. So if you leave a comment today, I may not respond in the next 2 days, but I will definitely respond to you for sure. All right, so let's get into my finished objects today. The first one I have for you is my Sophie scarf by PetiteKnit. I finished it. And if you watched the last episode, I was like, well, I'm just gonna knit it through this 50-gram ball of Kappa DK and see where it takes me. And as I was knitting it, it became very clear to me that I was not gonna want the small version of this. I was gonna definitely want the long version, and I love it. So I did order a second ball of the Kappa DK, and you guys, I totally get why everybody is making these and likes it. This is amazing. The pattern is really fun and fast. Like, you zip through it. B, it looks beautiful. I didn't even block this, and it's so nice. And see, this Kappa DK is pretty amazing yarn. So I use the Eclipse Heather color Kappa DK. It's got cashmere in it. What is it? 85% merino wool, 15% cashmere. So this is like very soft and lovely. And I am just a huge fan. I will be making more of these for sure. And I love it. I didn't block it. I just wove in the ends, but it was becoming very clear to me that the small size for me was not going to be big enough. I knew I wouldn't be happy with that. And so that is why I decided to bite the bullet and get another ball of the Kemper DK, because I had like that much more to go. So it's fine. I'm happy. I love it. And it's fabulous. So I did mention last week that I have feelings, right? We all have feelings. But I was like, this is such a simple and beautiful design, but it should be free, right? That's my opinion. And there is something on Ravelry that looks very similar and is free. It's called The Simple Thing. I have weird feelings about it. I just do. I feel sometimes that like simple patterns should be free, but I'm also not trying to make my living as a knitwear designer. So then I think maybe I should just shut my mouth. I paid for it, so I'm gonna use it. I'll probably make 10 more of these because I loved it so much. Okay, my other finished object is the Let's Stay Home Socks by Nancy Wheeler. She's Knit Sip Happy on YouTube and Ravelry, I believe. And this is just a beautiful 6-row repeat sock with a very easy cable. You can do it without a cable needle. I had no trouble with it. I used the Creative Knitter Creative Sock Yarn, and the color is Goodnight Ojai, and it came with this coordinating yarn that I just used for a heel. I followed Nancy's, I did a 2x2 rib, I did the sock, and I just did a fish slips kiss heel because they fit everybody in my life okay, and I sometimes just don't want to do a heel flap and gusset. I just don't always love it, but sometimes I do. But I didn't want to with this. So here they are. I'm very pleased with these. They're beautiful, they're lovely. The thing I loved about making these was like, it was really easy to just count the ridges for making the socks the same length. Yeah, they turned out great. I'm really happy with these. This is a free pattern by Nancy. And after I finished this, I was like, I wanna make another pattern by Nancy Wheeler. So I did cast on some more socks. Again, I was a little squirrely this past week, and yeah, I'll be showing those in works in progress, which I'm coming up to next. So yeah, I think I have some cursed yarn. The last time we spoke, I ripped out my Metropolis by Tanis Lavely, and I cast it on the Big Rib by Jessie Maed Designs, and I was so happy, and I'm still like pretty happy. This is what I've done. I've done the whole body, and I did a sleeve, almost. I mean, it's not even close to being done. I've been marking my decreases. I tried it on, it looks okay. I would for sure finish this if I was gonna have enough yarn. It was made clear to me that I'm not gonna have enough yarn to finish 2 sleeves and a collar. There's just no way. I am not going to have enough yarn. And that has been my biggest problem with this kit. I purchased this kit from Tanis Lavely, from Tanis Fiber Arts, and I purchased it for the Metropolis. And I started to make the Metropolis, and I mean, it's kind of a cropped sweater. And I don't know, as soon as I pulled out the amount of yarn when it was delivered a few years ago, I was like, this does not seem like enough yarn for a sweater. And so I am not going to finish this. I will come back to the Big Rib and make a version of this in the future with Knit Picks Wonder Fluff. But I mean, it would fit me fine and look fine. There's no problems with that, right? It's just, I'm not gonna have enough yarn. And I don't know. So I've decided to switch gears. I'm going to be frogging this and recasting it on way later in the year. I just need a break from all this ribbing right now. But I started to look at what I could possibly make with this Tannis Fiber Arts Pure Wash Chunky yarn in the Metropolis color. And I came to two different possibilities. The first one, which I think I'm leaning towards, is the Seven Sisters top, which is like a short sleeve sweater. It's pretty simple. This is made out of a cotton worsted. So this is more designed to be like a spring top. Mine would be more of like a vest. Like it would be like a wintertime vest. It's a possibility. The other possibility I came up with is the Staycation Pullover by Tiffany Lynn. What I like about this one is that it has like a garter turtleneck, and again, it's more like a vest. I think I just need to like say, I have a fairly long torso. I'm 5'7". So for me, I don't love a crop. And if I need to lengthen, I need to add quite a bit of length. I have a long torso and I have long legs. I mean, not as long as some, but probably longer than a lot of designers. And then, you know, if someone got a shorter torso than you, I mean, 12 inches might be enough for them, but I need more like 17 or 18 if I want a sweater to hit me where I want it to hit me, because I am not a cropped girl. Tried it, didn't work. I am part of the population that wants the other half of the sweater. I don't wear dresses, so I don't really have anything that they work with, which is fine. And most of the time it works just fine. So now that I'm talking about it, I actually think I might do this one because I know Tiff's as a designer really well. I know it'll work for me. So these are both worsted weight patterns. This Pure Wash Chunky, I mean, it's chunky, but I think I can make this work for sure. So I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed that nothing has been working with this yarn. And I did look on the Tannis Fiber Arts website to see if I could just order another skein, and they don't even have the Pure Wash Chunky listed as a base. They had a bulky, I don't know if that's the same, but it did not have this color. So I don't know. And truth be told, like, it looks okay, but I think that it will look better in like a Wonder Fluff and a slightly different gauge. I mean, this stretches a ton. I mean, I'm sure I could block it out and it would be perfect, but I'm kind of just to the point where I don't like this yarn anymore, but I still want it out of my stash. So I'm gonna be frogging this, and I'm gonna try to do that Staycation or the Seven Sisters top and use as much of the yarn as possible and then be done. But I would like to make it into something that I would wear. And I would wear this for sure, but I can't get any more yarn, and I don't want to start trying to like figure out collars, and like, it's not the look I wanted. So the big rib will come back because I actually love this construction. I really enjoyed working on it. The 4x4 rib is super relaxing. It goes really fast. And I think using it in using Wonder Fluff will actually make it go even faster. So I think it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back, but not in this form. And maybe not this fiscal year. Fiscal year, who am I talking to? I'm not at work right now. Okay, and then the next WIP that I have, let's see. Oh, so another Tale of Frogging. I think that's gonna be the name of this episode, A Tale of Frogged Knits. I apologize if you can hear my dishwasher. It's supposed to be one of those quiet ones, but they never are. Yeah, we forgot to run the dishwasher last night. So I also frogged the Holiday Slipover by PetiteKnit. Unfortunately, I just don't think she's going to be a designer for me. It was the second garment I tried to knit from her, And I think something happens in the translation that I just cannot follow. I know that there are several US and Canada-based knitters out there who have no problems with her patterns and make all of them, and I, for some reason, I just cannot. I get lost very easily, and I don't know. So I think I'm done. I love the Sophie scarf. I'm gonna keep making those, but I don't think I can make her garments. So I wanted to find another option for a bulky vest, and I came up with vest number 3 by My Favorite Things. They are advertised on Ravelry, but you have to go to a different site to actually get their patterns, their website, which is fine. And so I casted that on, and I'm really happy with this. This is coming along really well. I can understand it, I can follow it, and here we are. So the back is quite high, and so here's where we're at. And this, I'm using Hue and Me by Lion Brand. This is the color Peacoat, so it's like a blue. It looks very gray, but it's actually quite blue. It's very pretty. I actually like it. And this is coming along fine. I'm in just like a sea of, oh, we're losing stitches. Bulky yarn and stockinette, so it's kind of a little boring right now, but this was another case where I realized quite, you know, like, I don't think this is gonna be enough to finish this. I don't know. I just don't know. I am having problems with math recently where I'm running out of yarn on every project, I feel. I don't know if it's that I just don't understand math, possibly. It's not my strong suit. So that's why I really trust a good designer and a good pattern designer to tell me what to do and how many yards I need. I may have enough yarn, but I did order another 2 skeins from Lion Brand just to be sure, because I am not ripping out another vest. So this is gonna be big and bulky and lovely. I imagine that I'll put it over a long sleeve t-shirt, and I have a couple colored shirts. Maybe I'll do that as well. So I think this will just be really fun to style differently. I like the construction a lot. So it's the same construction for the big rib, where you start with a back panel and then you pick up and knit the front, and then it all comes together under the sleeves. And it's a really cool construction. I really like it. I've done it like 4 times recently. But I have been noticing, after doing this a bunch of times, I'm now looking for patterns where I just want a raglan, or I just want a circular yoke. I don't want all the picking up, but it's been fun to do, but I would like a break now. So I think this is gonna be nice and oversized and wonderful, and I'm excited to have it. So it looks like I'm gonna have a couple of vests coming into my life, which is wonderful. It's a new look for me and something that I could definitely use. So that's coming along. I have more yarn coming. Okay, and then let's move into the Coffee Run collar. This has not gotten as much love as it should have, because I really do love working on it. So I was chugging along on this, and then I got to the collar opening, and I was like, oh, I don't have that brain space. So then I cast it on the Sophie scarf, and then I've come back to it, and I love it. And I kind of work on this if I'm gonna work on it, I try to give myself enough time that I can get one of the full repeats done. So here's where we're at. So I finished the back, ends all over the place. So I finished the back, I did the opening for the neck, for the collar, and then this is the front. So, because I like to try things on in front of you guys all the time. So this is where we're at. So I have to do this is the repeat here. I have to do that 5 more times, and then I get to the bottom ribbing, which will be in the front. And I didn't realize, I definitely messed up. This was supposed to be the fingering weight held double, not the fingering and the mohair. So I hope I don't run out of mohair, because that's on me if I do. But yeah, so this is Sonder yarn. This was a kit on Sonder yarn, and the halo is the mohair, and then this is BFL 4-ply, and this is called Wildwood, and this is Boreal. And sorry, I barely showed you, so here they are. And together they look like this, and this is like, I have a hat that I wear every day, which is like the same color green, and I think I'm gonna look pretty good wearing my cable hat and my beautiful collar, and I think it's just gonna be perfect. And I did mention last time as well that I'm looking at this as something that maybe I can throw on during my work day, like take the hoodie off, because I tend to wear a lot of hoodies. Take the hoodie off, throw the collar on, and look a little bit more professional. On days that I don't wear a sweater, or I don't know, I work in front of a computer all the time. So sometimes I'm like, I just want a hooded sweatshirt with a kangaroo pocket to keep my phone in, and that's kind of my uniform. But I do have meetings where I have to dress up a little bit. So I thought this would also help with that, and also be a great outdoor accessory. Next I have the Free for All cowl, which is by, I'm sorry, the Coffee Run collar is by Samantha Guerin. Okay, and so now the Free for All cowl is by Peck, and this is another free pattern on Ravelry. And I'm using Leading Men Fiber Arts Box Office, which is their worsted, and King Max, and then some Quivet yarn that I have left over. Well, not left over, that I unraveled and I'm using because I want this to be warm and soft. So I've put on a couple more inches. Here it is. So this is, like I said, a free pattern. I think this is an 8-row repeat, but it's very easy. There's just knits, purls, garter. There's some increases and decreases to give it, you know, the chevron shape. And I really am liking this. Here are the two yarns that I'm holding together. So the King Max has some cool neon pops and brown pops, and this is just a really beautiful teal blue. So yeah, this one you do a provisional cast on, and then I'm probably like halfway through, and it goes this way, and then you seam it together. So I am hoping to finish this by the next time I record. I should be able to, I've got some time, and it actually goes pretty quickly when I'm working on it. This is something that I just pull out randomly, and I'll do like one set of the increases, one set of the pattern. Yeah, one pattern repeat, we'll just put it that way. I do one pattern repeat and then I put it away. And then this is also sharing space. I don't think I've even shown this on here, with a scarf I started before Christmas. It's just a little garter scarf, and what I'm doing is it's a scarf on Ravelry that I've seen. I think it's called the Easton. No, that doesn't sound right. Georgetown? I think it's the Georgetown. And they made it with Noro yarn. So it's kind of color changing, and it's garter through with the Noro. And then you pick up along the sides and you do like some ribbing. So this will be my middle garter. And then once I get that, as long as I want to make it, then I'm going to pick up on the sides and do just some ribbing in gray. But this is some yarn that I dyed. This is some of the first yarns that I dyed. It was the same, and they turned out quite different. And so this is just like a 100% superwash merino. So I'm just holding them together and marling them, and I'm planning on just kind of copying that style. I didn't purchase the pattern. I'm just sort of copycatting it, I guess. But yeah, so I think it's coming along really nicely. And this is a progress keeper I got from Nicole of Professor Pearl. She made that. I won one of her 1 year or 2 year podiversary. I think just 1 year. So yeah, so it's coming along. So every once in a while, if I just want to do a couple rows of garter, I pull that out. It's fun to work on. The yarn's really nice. I don't think I'll get that base again in the future though, because it's not popular. People don't want to buy that one. So I have some other bases in my Etsy shop. My sister-in-law Heather and I have an Etsy shop called Pencil and String that'll also be linked down below, where I sell some hand-dyed yarn. I have not dyed in a very long time. I'm hoping to get back to it soon. I just do it for fun whenever I have time, and whenever creativity sparks for the dye pots, I'll give it a try. We have a friend that is a electrician, and we're gonna have him come and fix my power situation, because if the kids are downstairs playing a video game, or God forbid the washer and dryer is going, the circuit breaker goes out and we lose all power, and then I'm like in a mask and sweating over, you know, boiling water, and it's sort of miserable. So I'm trying to make it a nicer experience when I decide to dye. So it's kind of on hold right now, but it'll come back. But there are some yarns in the shop if you do ever want to check it out. And my sister-in-law makes beautiful pom-pom wreaths, which are a lot of fun. Normally, there's one right there. And I used to have one when I would record in the basement behind me as well. Let's see if I can show that one really quick. There. Sorry. And then she also is an artist, so some of her pencil drawings are in the shop as well. I was gonna pull out a shawl by Stephen West this month to work on, but instead I pulled out my Scraptastic Stash Busting Blanket by Samantha Johnston. She used to have a podcast on YouTube called Hand Me My Knitting. Yeah, and I used to really enjoy watching her, and she sort of has decided, I think, that being online is not for her anymore. So when I started this, I started it and then I put it away for a year at least. So I pulled it out and it brought me a lot of joy. So here's where we are at so far. So the last time you guys saw it, I was still in the purple section. So it has kind of faded into this green, and then now we're into this like pink. And what I'm working from is probably 2 years ago, I took some mini skein sets that I had, one from Yarn Cafe Creations and one from Ruby and Roses, and I made magic knot balls. And so obviously this one's a lot bigger than this one. So I don't even remember what the yarns look like. So this has been so much fun to knit on and work on. So I see some more pink coming in through there. That'll be fun. I think this one might have been Ruby and Roses, and this one, but I'm not sure. I just don't remember. I have no idea actually. So it's been really fun. This is super squishy, and I am in a garter mood. Nothing has made me happier recently than garter. I think there's a shawl out there called Welcome Back Garter, and I need to make that because that has been going through my head. While I've been working on this, I'm like, welcome back garter. You're in my life and I love you. So this has just been a lot of fun. It's just been bringing me a ton of joy just to see the change in the colors and just have something to do. I've been so overwhelmed and a little stressed out lately that this has been a really great thing to just pick up and work on. So with this ball getting pretty close to the end, I've found some other minis, and I have no idea where these are from, that I'm going to wind up and have ready to go when that ball is done. I feel like these might be from Trilogy Yarns, but I'm not 100% sure. So I have this one, ooh, that one wants to be worked with. This one, yeah, these are Trilogy, but I don't remember when or why or where I got them. So I have these ones that I'll put together into another little magic knot ball and then just tie on to that one when it's out. And then after that, I have yarn. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. This is gonna be a nice big blanket. I want a nice big blanket. But yeah, this has been my kind of comfort knit lately. And my husband and I, we were just both kind of feeling like we didn't know what to watch, and I was feeling like I didn't know what to work on because I kind of knew that my big rib was getting to a point where it wasn't going to work out, and I have not worked on my lento because I was really focusing on that stupid big rib. So I'm bringing the lento back out, and anyway, that's a different story. But we were just kind of feeling lost, and I was like, I have that blanket. I'm just gonna put a couple rows on it. And so we turned on Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade, really random. And then we ended up watching that, and then we watched Raiders of the Lost Ark a couple days later. And then just because, and it's very problematic, we also watched Temple of Doom, and I was like, oh. So many problems with this, but God, Harrison Ford was a good-looking man back in the day. Oh, he's still a good-looking older man, but oh, he was great to watch. back in his heyday. So we really enjoyed watching those. So now that's what I think of when I look at this is Indiana Jones. I'm not going to rename it my Indiana Jones blanket though, because I'm sure I will watch a lot of other movies while I work on it, because it is not even close to being finished. Oh, and then I did pull out another blanket. It felt so good, you guys. It was so fun. I don't know if I've ever showed this. This is an I Heart You bag. This is where I keep I'm working on 2 cozy memory blankets, one for my daughter, one for my son. This is a bag full of yarn scraps, like so many. So what I'm thinking is, once I go through all of these, because it's not going to use up all the yarn, I'll probably make them into magic knot balls for either a Scraptastic blanket or maybe a scrappy cardigan, anything. I feel like magic knot balls are going to be, once I've used like this color, I'm going to put in both of my kids' blankets. Once I've used however many grams go into the blanket, then I'm going to put it in a different scrappy project. I want to get rid of some of these scraps. I love them, but this is not my only bag full of scrappy yarn. I have a lot of yarn scraps. All right, but anyway, so my daughters, I did not add anything new this time, but I think I've added since we last spoke. So this was where it started. And then here's, I made her a pair of socks in this color recently. I think this was from my love note. This was from my Cozy Classic Raglan. And this is like the skein of yarn that I made my mom a pair of socks, and this color, I think I'm gonna have this yarn in my grave with me. It is like the skein of yarn that will not end. So this is my daughter's. I'm hoping to finish it by the time she graduates high school. Yeah, lofty goals. Maybe when she gets married, we'll see. And then Milo's is the one that I worked on this week. So his started over here. And then this week I added 6 squares. I added these 3, 1, 2. And so what I can remember, this was from my, one of my Stephen West shawls. This is for Sai from Lolo Did It. This is, I don't know. This is London House Yarns. It was what I made my sister's police box socks in. This is Woolens and Nosh. And this is Lolo Did It in Simple Man. And then this was an old knit crate color that I got. Not sure what that one is. This is Lolo Did It Cheeseheads. This is that same purple from my daughter's blanket. This was Gnome Acres Starry Night. This was from Craftsy. This is Beattyman Fiber Arts, maybe? I don't remember, don't recall. This is Festivus from Lolo Did It. I don't know. And these were just minis I had, and they're a lot bigger than the rest of the blanket, so I think they might have actually been sport weight, but I don't care, it's good. And I have been doing weave and Steven method, so all the ends are basically woven in, I just have to trim them. But yeah, that brought me a lot of joy too. Like, blankets were like my comfort knit these past couple of weeks. I've been really enjoying those. Okay, now for the new cast-ons. I was totally not gonna cast on new socks, and then I did. The first socks, oh, they're way over here. Hang on one second. Okay, the first socks that I cast on were, I had started a pair of Opal socks for Milo last year, and you know how Opal is a more rough feeling yarn? So it wasn't feeling good on my hands, and I didn't love the color. He picked out the color from my stash, and it was in my stash, and I was just not liking it, and I didn't ever want to work on them. So I gave him some other choices. I said, we're gonna start over. Can you pick out some yarn? So I gave him a couple different choices. One was self-striping, there were a couple others. I tend to like to make him blue socks. I probably should have let him like actually like look in my stash and choose something, but I also sort of wanted to like have a little bit of direction so that I could knit with something I wanted to. And then after he picked out 2 that he liked, I'm like, now feel them. And so the yarn that he chose, because it feels amazing, is it's called A Yarn to Die For Designs. And the color is Cloudy with a Chance of Blue Skies. And this is 75% superwash merino wool, 25% nylon, fingering weight. So to me, it feels like Knit Pick Stroll to me. It is so soft. I'm in love. I am not feeling my ball winder lately, so I just wound it up. And I chose the library socks from the Kitchen Sink Designs, which is free sock pattern on Ravelry. And here it is, and I am loving these. These are so fun and addicting. I mean, the color is so pretty. I love those super bright pops of blue. It is so pretty, and I'm really, really enjoying. This is the simplest pattern, very relaxing, very fun. I'm loving it. Free. It's basically like a broken rib, I think. But I'm really loving these, and I wanted a simple sock to work on. Like, I plan on bringing this to the hospital with me tomorrow. I don't know if I'll knit on it, but I want something there, so I needed something simple. I'm doing this magic loop on a 2.25 millimeter, which is a US size 1 needle. These are Addies, which are not my favorite cord, but it's all right. And these are 60 stitches because he is a men's size 6 now, my little 12-year-old boy. 56 stitches doesn't work for him anymore. So, but this yarn stretches beautifully, so we're not worried at all that they won't fit. It's great. But yeah, I just wanted a simple sock, and that's what I was gonna tell you. I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel. That's been my go-to lately. I do want to try different heels, but right now is not the time. I'm not feeling it right now. Okay, the other last new cast on is the Freddy Beach Socks by Nancy Wheeler of Knit Sit Happy. After I finished the Let's Stay Home socks, I knew I had a couple other of her designs in my Ravelry library. I'm really having trouble, Ravelry library. And I just wanted to cast on a pair. So I pulled out 2 scraps from my stash. I'm pretty sure this is Leading Men Fiber Arts Copper Cloud. And I think I used this for one of my Stephen West shawls. And it's in this yarn cozy. My husband saw this, he's like, I've never seen you use one of those before. And I was like, I have a couple. I just had it around this yarn, so I just kept it on. And then this is Midnight Cravings Parasol is the color, and I made my daughter a pair of socks. And neither of these appear to be wonderful sock yarns, but that doesn't bother me because these are the most beautiful socks I think I've ever made. So these are the Freddy Beach socks, and I'm in love. Look at how pretty this is. I did not follow her. Okay, so I followed the pattern and did 1x1 ribbing. I am doing the repeat, which is gorgeous, and this yarn is gorgeous for it. And then I just did a Fish Lips Kiss heel because that's what I've been feeling lately. And so now I'm past that and I'm working on the foot of the sock. But this has been flying off my needles because I've just really, really, really enjoyed working on it. The color is beautiful. The pattern is easy and beautiful and fun, and I highly recommend this pattern. I love it. I think Nancy is making, I watched her most recent episode, and I think she's gonna be making a pair of matching socks for her daughter and her daughter's fiance, because this is based on a bridge in, oh gosh, my Canadian geography is not great, but it's based on a bridge. And I believe her daughter was proposed to in front of it. So I don't know, I just think it's so pretty and I love it so much. Okay, so that is it for works in progress. I have had some mail come in. I mentioned Knit Picks, the DK Capra. There may have also been some alpaca cloud that came as well. One of my best friends, her name is Julie. She is very short. She is about 5 feet, maybe 5'1", and she is married to our friend Chris, who is 6'4". And I've made Julie a lot of socks because she's got small little feet and it's just nice to make socks for small feet. And Chris has really large feet, and I have committed to making Chris a pair of socks this year. And Julie and I were kind of texting, and she said, I think he would really like Green Bay Packers socks because I live in Wisconsin. I'm not a Wisconsin native. I am not a Green Bay Packer fan. I'm not a Chicago Bear fan. I am not really a football fan unless my son is playing flag football, but neither here nor there. I watch a lot of football with my husband, so I guess I have to just go with it. So I just typed into the Google, as you do, Green Bay Packers sock yarn. And a couple options came up. I knew I didn't want to get the cheese heads colorway again from Lolo Did It because I've made my husband socks with that. I made my kids bulky hats with it. I just feel like I've used that color enough that I didn't want to get it again. So I found this great yarn from Blue Barn Fiber Arts, and I believe they're in, oh, they're not in Wisconsin. Let me see, I have their card here. Here, I'll show you the yarn. So here it is. I thought I could live with that. If I have to knit green and gold, I can live with this. It's very pretty. I like that there's some variation in the green and there's some white. I think this is gonna be nice. So they are in, ooh. They're in Idaho. It's a French sounding town and I never took French, so I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but here is their label, and I did not look at the rest of their colors to see if they do other sport teams, but I thought this was very, very pretty and very nice. So I will be winding this up and probably casting these on. I also want to get back to some of the other yarn, the other socks that I have started, but yeah, it'll all come in time, right? This year's Knitting for Joy, so this will bring someone joy. And knitting always brings me joy, so. But yeah, so these will be cast on in the next couple months. I have no due date for these, but it's time. Chris needs some socks. Okay, so let's get into book club. Like I said, I finished 9 books. Most of them they've all been on Audible. I have been an Audible like fiend lately. I just have really been enjoying listening to books lately, and I'm not gonna apologize for it. Not that you guys would want me to. I don't know why I said that, but yeah, I've been reading a lot. So I finished Incense and Sensibility by Sonali Dev. This is part of a series, but I think it's sort of like Bridgerton, where like they're very loosely connected, like maybe some of the same characters will show up. And this was nice. It was what it was. It had the like hints of Sense and Sensibility, which I appreciated. And so I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was good. I have a few more, I don't know if I've gotten them actually. I think I'll use one of my Audible credits in the future to get Pride, Prejudice, and Other Flavors, and then see how I feel about that one. And that might be all I read. It might be just enough, but Pride and Prejudice is definitely my favorite. So I think that I definitely want to at least give that one a whirl. I also finished How High We Go in the Dark by Sequoia Nagamatsu. I gave that 3 stars. It's one of those books that is so big that you're either gonna love it or feel kind of meh about it. And I loved parts of it and other parts just did not work for me. So it's a story basically about pandemic. Pandemic happens and it's in the future. And so there's some very futuristic aspects of it. Parts of it were lovely. Parts of it were very like, you know, sad. And there were a few parts where I was just like, what is happening here? I just don't understand. So that one I gave 3 stars. I'm glad I read it, but I don't think I would recommend it. Then I finished It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. If you've been watching, I read It Ends With Us last year, and that one was like, I'm the only person in the world that didn't know what was gonna happen in that book. And so this was the continuation of life after the main character, who I'm forgetting her name, Lily? Maybe Lily. I don't know. I read a lot, so I don't always remember all the names. But so she's dating, you know, someone who was in her life from the past. So there's a lot of like past, present stuff going on. I didn't love it. I gave it 2 stars. I had no problems with the storyline. I didn't like her use of journals to tell the story of Atlas and Lily's past, because nobody writes like that in a journal, you know, like very like prosy. I don't know. It just didn't feel realistic to me. That was my main gripe. And also I just felt like this wasn't necessary. But I read it because my neighbor really loves Colleen Hoover books, and she had just read it, and I was like, well, I have an Audible credit, I'll grab it. And so I read it, it was fine. Then I finished Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I really liked this book. It was so good. One of my friends had read it, and her high school age daughter read it, and she was telling me like, it's so steamy. And I was like, oh dear. So I picked it up, and I actually didn't think it was quite as steamy as I was expecting. So that was good. It was steamy in parts, but it wasn't like I was expecting it to be like X-rated steamy, and I didn't think it was that. I thought this was just a very, very wonderful, sweet, queer romance, and I really enjoyed it. I thought the characters were well fleshed out. I really liked the relationship between the 2 main characters. I found it charming and lovely, and I really, really liked it. So maybe not appropriate for high school age kids just based on steaminess, but I also think for young adults, it's a great book. Then I read The Cheerleaders by Kara Thomas. I gave that 3 stars. I thought it was pretty good for a young adult mystery, but it was a little forgettable because I don't remember a lot about it. But I did enjoy reading it, and yeah, it was good. It caught my attention for sure. I kind of barreled through that one. Then I read Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen McManus. I gave that 4 stars. I really do like her formula. It is a formula, but it works. This was another young adult kind of murder mystery, and it was good. The characters were good. The only thing I didn't love was the main character was a twin, and I wanted that to be a bigger part of her story and her personality. I don't know, but it was good. It kept me guessing. I never knew where it was going, so I thought it was quite good. And then I read In Love by Amy Bloom. I gave that 4 stars. It's a memoir. It was awful, but lovely and beautiful. She tells the story of taking her husband, who had early onset Alzheimer's, I believe, to Dignitas in Switzerland, for a assisted suicide. And it was very, very sad, but she detailed the whole process and how people viewed them. And it was a very honest and beautiful memoir. Very, very, very sad. It was one I had to take breaks from, but I really, really am glad I read it as well. Then I read, because I needed a change of pace, that one was quite heavy. I read When He Was Wicked by Julia Quinn, which is Francesca's story. This was the steamiest of the Bridgerton books so far, I felt. I was like, goodness, we really took a turn into 50 Shades territory here. I didn't love this one. I gave it 3 stars. I didn't love the story as much. I found it, I don't know, just not my favorite of all of them. I mean, they're all just basically different versions of the same story, sort of, but it was okay. I think the thing that I don't love about the Bridgerton books is I want to hear about the whole family. And the books are so focused on just the one sibling and their romance, which is fine. And sometimes another sibling will come in. The mom always comes in. Some of the other characters will come in, like Lady Danbury, but I don't know. I missed the whole crew. So I have, I think, 2 more, and then I'm going to be done. But I am trying to get through them all because I have them all. And then I read Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I gave that 5 stars. I loved this book. And then I read reviews that people did not love it. So take my review with a grain of salt, but I thought it was so charming. When I don't know why, I've had this book in my library for a while, and I finally just went like, I'm like, okay, I'll just go for it. Cause I don't want to read 2 Bridgerton books in a row. I need like a palate cleanser. And it was like big bookstore person against like small bookstore person. And then they can't escape each other in a small town. And I was like, oh gosh, this does not sound great. The writing was so clever. I was laughing out loud. My husband thought I was an idiot. I was laughing out loud. I thought it was so clever. There were so many just funny moments in it. And again, like the romance was very sweet and very lovely. And there were other relationships that happened in the story that were very wonderful. And I just loved it. I thought it was, for what I wanted, it was perfect. And I've said in the past, I'll say it again, I think sometimes you get a book that comes along at the right time. And this was that for me. Like this book came in when I was in the mood for it. And I loved it. I thought it was great. And I laughed out loud while I was listening to it, to my husband's annoyance. And so now I am currently still reading The Shadows by Alex North. I'm getting through it. I read it every night just about before bed, unless I can't for some reason, but it's keeping my interest. I don't quite know how it's going to resolve. I don't know. So there's the main character, and he's back in his hometown, staying in his mother's house, and there was a friend, James, who was murdered by 2 other friends, and one murderer was caught, the other one never was. So nobody knows where that one is. And is he still alive? We don't know. So it's just kind of, it's creepy, but not like so creepy that like it makes it so I can't sleep at night. But I don't know, I'm liking it. It's not great, but it's not bad either. And then I'm reading It's in His Kiss by Julia Quinn, and this is Hyacinth's story. And this is probably my least favorite one so far. I'm just not, I don't like the characters, Hyacinth or Gareth, who is her love interest. And maybe I'm just like, shouldn't have read it so quickly after the last one. I don't know, but I'm kind of like, just not liking this one. But I'm almost done. So really quick before I sign off, I meant to talk about this earlier, but I totally forgot. On my medical leave, I guess that's what we're gonna call it, I am planning on starting a couple new things. I'm going to be making a little dog star sweater. I have a little nephew coming into my life soon in the next few months. His name is Henry. We're very excited. And I've made both of his siblings sweaters. I made a harvest, a baby harvest, and a flax. So I decided we're gonna stick with tin can knits, and I'm gonna make a baby dog star. So I think I'm gonna make the 6 to 12 month size because he'll be born this spring. So I thought maybe then by the fall, a 6 to 12 month size would work well. Yeah, and that's gonna be, I have some Capra, I think palette yarn picked out. Sorry, I'm looking at it. I don't wanna get up and show you, but gray, like a ocean blue, and then a navy. So I think it's gonna be really cute. And just a funny kind of story, my kids' names are Claire and Milo. And if Claire was gonna be a boy, her name was gonna be Henry. And then when we were pregnant with Milo, my husband Nathan still wanted Henry, but I had moved on. I wanted Sam, and then we compromised on Milo. But if Milo had been a girl, his name was gonna be Olive. And Henry has a sister named Olive. So it makes me so happy that there's still gonna be a Henry and Olive in our family. And so I just wanna make sure that he's got a nice little sweater to keep him warm. And then I showed this last time, but I'm showing it again because other than my Lento, I am casting on the Ilia next. I am so excited for this. Sorry, I did that really fast. It's a sweater by Caitlin Hunter. I am gonna be on a Caitlin Hunter train for a while. I'm going to do the Ilia first, and then I have the Halu, which is a 1 color V-neck, and then the Easy V, I have some yarn from O Wool that I want to use for that. Sadly, O Wool is closing its doors. She's had a hard time the last couple of years, and she is no longer going to be dying. So if you have not heard that news, I know she's got some sales going on. She's trying to, you know, sell all of her inventory. So there still may be some good sales there, but I've actually never knit with a wool. So I'm really excited. And I thought now's the time to use that yarn kind of as a celebration of her kind of dying career. She's very sad about it. I watched her YouTube video and, you know, it's just been hard. She's had some hard times. So hopefully this will be a new beginning for her. But in her honor, I'm going to make an Easy V in a wool. And so yeah, it's going to be a Caitlin Hunter sweater train coming up shortly, but I'm going to be shifting my focus to my Lento and finishing the vest. I'm going to let the Tanis Fiber Arts yarn marinate for a while, and then I will cast on something else with that. But this was a very scattered month for me. I will 100% admit to that. But I'm hoping to be a little bit more focused coming into March. And yeah, so I will see you in a couple of weeks. It'll be 2 to 3 weeks at least. I'm going to have my surgery, recover for a few weeks, just knit and watch my period dramas, and then I will be back with some to show you what I've been working on. So I hope you're well, take care, and I will see you soon. Bye.